A couple of years ago, I was in a very dark place. I had no motivation. I was tired all the time. I was hooked to fast food, social media, video games, you name it. I was probably hooked to it. And I literally used to have McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's how bad my addiction was. And I just didn't feel like doing anything productive or anything that required any sort of effort whatsoever. It was as if I found myself in this vicious cycle of being kind of depressed and then numbing myself with more quick pleasure and in return being more depressed. But one particular night I saw myself in the mirror and I was disgusted and I felt guilty. I was this overweight dude whose head was filled with brain fog and he had dark circles under his eyes. From that day onwards, I knew that I had to change something about my life. Like, I couldn't imagine myself just lying on my deathbed knowing that I hadn't lived up to my full potential. Like, that was a scary thought. So for the next 5 years, I made it a mission to fix my mental health. I read hundreds of self-help books, watched 1,000 different podcasts, tried a bunch of diets, supplements, mental frameworks. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some protocols that worked best. They worked so well that I was able to completely reinvent myself as a man. I've worked at Fortune 500 companies such as Dell Technologies, AMD, Synopsys. Additionally, I've been the best performing students in both my bachelor's program and my master's program. I accomplished all these things while lifting weights in the gym and training martial arts 6 days a week. So the foundation of all these accomplishments was that I had extremely good mental health. I was motivated, energetic, and happy. And now we are going to fix your mental health. But the thing is, this was not like a quick fix. I didn't just flip a button and become a new person. This was actually a journey and it required me to make some lifestyle changes. So if you're out here just looking for some quick fix, some pill to pop, or some magical mindset to have, it's going to fix your life in 5 minutes, this is not the video for you. But if you're the kind of person that has had enough of his depressed life and really wants to make changes that accomplish all his dreams, then keep watching. So the very first thing that I did to improve my mental health was actually break this cycle or this rut that I was in. I started fasting. Like, I did not eat anything for 20 hours and I used to have just one meal a day, and this meal was like quite big. One of the main reasons why fasting was so effective was because I was no longer poisoning myself with processed garbage fast food. This food is made up of tens of ingredients. It does not exist in nature. Like, McDonald's fries has like 17 ingredients in them. That is absolutely crazy. I can identify two: salt and potato. What are the 15 other ingredients? All of this is just processed garbage that will lower your levels of motivation, mess up your attention span, cause you to be depressed. And since I was fasting, I was no longer consuming my previous diet, which was just garbage processed food, and this instantly meant that I started to feel better. The second thing is that when you don't consume food for long periods of time, your body begins to cleanse itself. It begins detoxifying all the dead and decayed cells that remain in you. Your body begins to burn them off. And this meant that you start feeling light, you start feeling energetic, you start feeling motivated, even without trying to artificially stimulate yourself with motivation. Like, I was not listening to music, I wasn't watching Instagram reels or some highly motivational movies. I just felt motivated without even trying to feel motivated. So that was like the truly fascinating part about fasting. And this newly found energy is so essential for breaking the rut, because when you're in a rut, you often feel tired and without energy. But once fasting gives you this physiological, psychological energy, you actually feel like doing things and breaking the rut. Like, you no longer feel like just lying on the bed. It actually becomes irritating. It almost becomes annoying to just lay there, right? Your body like demands you to, hey, get your ass up. And lastly, when you fast, your body begins to produce something called ketones. And these are like superfood for your brain. Your brain loves them. Imagine like 1,000 motivational speakers just flowing through your body. These are what ketones essentially are. You know that feeling of brain fog when you're kind of mentally confused or just zoned out like a zombie? That feeling completely disappeared when I was fasting. I was actually rather happy and focused and alert. All of a sudden, I was getting these gems of thoughts in my head that I'd never previously had. I was too numbed out for them. But now I was getting these thoughts about how exactly should I fix my life, like actionable steps to fix my life. You know, there is this movie called Limitless, and in that movie, this guy pops up a pill and all of a sudden he becomes really smart. His IQ increases. He's full of energy and focus. He literally like finishes writing a novel overnight. And to be honest, I know this is going to seem like a bit of an exaggeration, but fasting is the closest thing to that pill. You actually become focused, you have energy, and you sort of have this drive and motivation to get stuff done. And that is not even it. You know, when I was previously addicted to junk food, I had tried to quit. I tried other diets, But the thing is that these cravings never went away. I still craved sugar. I still craved those McDonald's burgers. And I could fight off these cravings for like 2-3 days using raw motivation. But eventually I just used to give up and consume and go back to eating that shit food. But I realized that when I was fasting, especially when I was doing these long fasts, which were like 18-20 hours long, I never felt those cravings. It's as though my brain forgot about this stuff. It's as though those regions of my brain which were like causing the cravings or seeking out dopamine, they just switched off. And I've worked with plenty of clients at this moment. People who are addicted to pornography, people who are addicted to smoking, people who are addicted to consuming tobacco. And all of them reported similar experiences. Like they no longer craved all these other substances that they were consuming while they were fasting. And these benefits even lasted once the fast was completed. It lasted for days after the fast was completed. And I know that some of you are probably going to say, bro, there's no way I could go 20 hours without food. This is unhealthy. Breakfast is the most important part of the day. How can you skip it? I get all of that. That's how I used to think previously. But the thing is that our ancestors did not eat 3 times a day. They didn't have refrigerators. Like they didn't have factories producing all this excessive food readily available through apps and shit. They were cavemen. They probably hunted in a fasted state without any food. And they used to probably get 1 meal a day or 1 meal in 2 days and then used to eat all of that at once. This basically hints at a fact that your body was designed to operate without food for a particular duration. I'm not saying that you can go weeks, but you should be able to go for a couple of hours without food. And this period is essential. Like that is when your body actually starts repairing itself. And think about this, you have been putting food into your digestive system since the day you were born. You haven't allowed it to rest. Once you do give it the necessary rest that it requires, you automatically start feeling significantly better. I would say that the first 2 or 3 days while I was doing these 20-hour fasts, they were kind of rough because my body was adapting. It was switching to new sources of energy. It was regulating my hormones. But after that 2 to 3 day period of discomfort, I started feeling really, really good. And the best part is, I did not even feel hungry anymore. I know it's shocking, it's surprising to believe, but once your body is fully adapted to this, you do not even feel hungry. If you're someone who enjoys such information-based content rather than pointless entertainment, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be making a lot more of such videos. So once I got this newfound energy from fasting, I decided that I'm never ever going to numb myself with social media, porn, or movies, none of that shit. I actually made a list of all such things: video games, Netflix, binge watching anime, every single thing that I kind of knew that was not too good for my mental health. And then I quit these things cold turkey. I know what the conventional wisdom says. I know what the mainstream people are telling you, that hey, have fun in moderation, use these things in moderation. But I kind of believe that these things are really, really stimulating. They're almost like drugs. In my opinion, using them moderately is quite risky because of the amount of motivation you require to just moderate their usage. For me, it has always been much, much easier to just quit them cold turkey and stop that mental tug of war in moderating the usage. But there was one thing I realized when I quit all these things cold turkey. It was that I had this big void in my life now. Like so much free time. No more video games, no more social media, no more binge watching movies. There was just ample of free time and I didn't really know how to fill that void, how to fill that free time. I had learned that boredom was my biggest enemy. Whenever I was bored, I used to seek instant gratification. I used to fill that time with garbage hedonistic activities. So what I then did was fill this void with a lot of productive activities. Like I was reading for 20 to 30 minutes a day. I was doing 3 to 4 hours of focused deep work. I was working out for 1 hour in the gym. I was going for walks, getting sunlight. I was taking cold showers. I was meditating. I was journaling. Any amount of free time I got, I filled it up with some productive activity. So this era of mine when I was fasting and I had stopped all instant gratification activities and started doing all these productive things, this was the happiest era of my life. I was so damn content and happy because I know I was doing productive things. I was heading somewhere in life. I wasn't wasting my potential. And each time I take something off my to-do list, I felt good. I felt pleasure. So one of the reasons why I was able to maintain doing these habits, these productive habits in the long run, was because I was now living my life by a routine. I knew what I had to do when I had to do. Previously, I was just living my life based on impulse and emotion. I used to wake up and then decide, what do I feel like doing today? Do I feel like reading or do I just feel like lying on the couch and binge watching social media content? And the answer more than often was to do these activities that give me instant pleasure, because that is how we are designed. We just crave the path of least resistance in the moment. A routine is so powerful because it gives you a time and a place for every every single thing that you're doing. When you know a time and a place for a particular activity, then you're much more likely to do it. For example, I decided that I'm going to hit the gym at 7 p.m. Then I would notice that by 6:30 p.m., I used to just start looking for my shoes, start changing for the gym. And my brain used to be psychologically ready to lift heavy stuff and actually start sweating. And I used to get this burst of energy when I used to approach 7 p.m. So knowing the time and a place for a particular activity, it's consciously and subconsciously gets you ready for that activity, so you're much less likely to miss that activity. The other advantage is that you are no longer making decisions on the go. If you have the time and place noted down for all your behaviors, then you're no longer contemplating what you should be doing at the moment. Should I be reading? Should I be lying down and sleeping? Should I be going to the gym? Like, instead of having like 1,000 different thoughts invade your mind and making decisions, you just need to look at a piece of paper and know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. This process of decision making is actually very psychologically taxing. It drains you of energy, and then you often miss doing these tasks. And that is how I was able to be extremely consistent and never fall back into this rut. If you're someone who really wants to get things done and achieve a lot in his life, but procrastination and bad habits are just weighing you down, then make sure that you click on the link in the description and book a one-on-one call with me. In this call, we'll discuss where you are in life and what exactly your goals are and how I can help you achieve them. I only take about 5 clients a month. Do it soon so you don't miss out.